What is up, Watch fam? Happy Monday and welcome to RANT&H. I am Christian from Theo and Harris. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. Today we're going to be talking about a relatively new and very limited release by our friends. Not our friends. Why did I call them our friends? At Tiffany Co. So let's roll the intro and get into it. Okay, but before we jump into today's episode, we'll do a quick wristwatch check. I am wearing a vintage Vacheron Constantin. I used to say Constantine until you guys so kindly pointed out that I am uncultured swine. So now it's Vacheron Constantin, and this is a beautiful example of said brand. It's an incredible two-tone case, yellow gold and white gold, actually. It's really unlike anything I've ever seen before as far as, kind of case designs, which really interested me. And of course, when I cracked open the watch to inspect the movement, it's just beautiful. I mean, everything from the bridges and the finishing, the bevels. I mean, it's just the epitome of classic Swiss, like no frills watchmaking. So anyway, I absolutely love this watch, and it will be for sale tomorrow, along with 5 other vintage watches at the Theo and Harris Watch Shop. 9 a.m., right? So that's it. That's what's on my wrist, and that's where it's going to be tomorrow. But let's jump into my topic today. So to preface, I'm a big fan of Tiffany Co. They have deep heritage in the world and the history of watchmaking, from their co-branded watches with Omega and Patek Philippe, all the way out to their very in-depth collaborations with Movado. Tiffany really is one of the brands at the bedrock of watch, collecting. And out of all of the other companies, whether that's Gobi from Milan or Bayer or so many other, double stamp and jewelry companies, Tiffany's the most desirable. I mean, at least as far as I know. So yes. Tiffany does deserve to have a position in the watch market. It would be a shame to see all of that history kind of dissolve, which is really what happened for a long time. I remember when I first got into watches, 4 or 5 years ago, Tiffany did not have all too interesting of a selection of watches. They took their Atlas collection, which I thought was actually a pretty damn cool watch. My dad has one. And they exploded it up to like a 40 millimeter just monster with these massive, steel Roman numerals. And it just became a blingy version of a classic, design. So, they went through a real gaudy, patch. Then they introduced their revival. It was a new line of watches, the CT60 and then the East-West, I believe, were the 2 models. And people had their qualms about them. They were a little bit expensive. Mechanically, they were a bit pedestrian. But overall, I was overjoyed to hear that Tiffany was really, having another run at being a company that sells watches. And now, a couple of years after their horological rebirth, they've introduced another watch. It's called the Tiffany Co. Square Watch. And there are 180 being produced, 180 because it is manufactured in celebration of Tiffany's 180th birthday. So let's start here. I love the watch. I love its size at 27 millimeters. In a square, it wears so much larger than you would think. I love the case finishing. I love the dial. I love the faux patina. I love the cathedral hands. I really, top to bottom, I think that this is a beautiful, original execution of a classic kind of dress formula. Yellow gold case, white dial, compact size. It's really uniquely Tiffany, and I admire the hell out of that. I think that Tiffany executing a watch like this says that they are capable of a bright future. I've said the same thing about Longines with their introduction of their heritage line. I think particularly the flagship Conquest or something. Anna, please put the video in the description below so they can have a look at what I was talking about and the bright future of Longines, which was kind of shown by one really, really, really good play. I see the same thing happening here. If Tiffany is capable of doing this, I think they are capable of building a real hardy brand moving forward. They've done a lot since their introduction of the new watches in 2015, but there's still a long way to go. This isn't a quick game. If they're trying to really play for long-term equity in the watch market, they're going to need to continue quality and originality and value for decades before it matters. And this is a great sign. But I do, as with most things, have a few problems with it. Actually, I have 2 problems with this watch. One, it's one of 180. I don't think Tiffany's in the position to make 180 watches. I don't think Tiffany is in the position to make their, in my opinion, best watch so far in only 180 examples. I think that this watch should be made at scale. Now, I completely understand Tiffany's desire to do something very special in the 180 number. It's 180 years of celebration, but that doesn't mean they had to limit the production. Tiffany could have issued the first 180 of this particular model in an interesting kind of configuration. Maybe instead of the Tiffany Co stamp at 12, you have the original signature of Charles Louis Tiffany, the man who opened the first Tiffany store. That would have been interesting. It's a small detail that your real core 180 collectors are going to salivate over. It's that little difference that I think would just be phenomenal. And that doesn't necessarily mean, the retail price is more, but you give the opportunity to your best clients to own one of these super special models. So you service them. You're making them happy, which is what you've done here, but you're also not cutting yourself off to the mass market, because this is a phenomenal watch that everybody should have an opportunity to own. Now, my second problem with this watch is the price tag. $17,000. Tiffany, you're not even close. I mean, $17,000 is far, 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 far too high. Scratch the watch. I mean, it's just not, it's not worth that. In respect to the $17,000 market, it's a insult. You're going to tell me that your watch is worth the same as an 1815 or as a Saxonia or as a Patrimony? I mean, sorry, but get lost. Now, where they should be competing is against Cartier. That makes sense. You want to retail this watch around, $7,000 to $9,000? I have no problem. Would I buy it at $7,000 to $9,000? No. Would I recommend someone buy it at $7,000 to $9,000? No. But I don't think the retail is insulting. It's respectful to the market, and on the secondhand market at $5,000 or $4,000, it's not just a buy. It's a monstrosity of a buy. And you're going to put this into the hands of so many people out there, as opposed to just 180 of your clients you already basically own. And that gives you the opportunity to own them in the future. New people, wide audience, people who never would have even conceived spending $17,000 in this watch. But at five, you might have their attention. And I think that is just so freaking important, because for every person that wears their Tiffany & Co logo on their watch, you're beginning to inch your way into culture. You're beginning to inch your way into a market. I don't know how sales work at that level. I just don't. I'm totally speculating. This is totally anecdotal. But I think that if you can get a wide audience interested at a relatively low price point, you're going to graduate with them, or they're going to graduate through your line, and they're going to introduce their children to your line because it's a household name. You buy a Tiffany & Co watch. That's the goal. That's what Cartier has done. That's what Patek has done. And Tiffany & Co is not going to do it by just racing to the finish line, by producing a cool watch that's worth $7 at 18, selling it to their 180 best clients. To me, it makes no sense, and it's extremely disappointing, especially considering how much I really am rooting for Tiffany. So that's it, guys. Whether you agreed or disagreed with my take on this new release, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment in the comment section below with your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. And finally, do not forget to check out the 6 new additions to the watch shop at theoandharris.com tomorrow morning. Sponsored by Schweppes, the original.
The original, just original flavor.
Shut up. What is up, Watch fam? Happy Monday, and welcome to what the series is this? This watch. And I'm saying this so you don't put the watch when I just said this watch. Cut this out, but I'm serious. I'm not kidding. You're smiling as if I'm joking.